All right, so we're talking about other forms of prayer. People are writing those answers in the comments section. And I'm thinking about that Wesleyan covenant prayer. Put me to what thou wilt. Rank me with whom thou wilt. We have some special guests here today. And actually, we fixed the audio problem. John and Sandra, it was actually my computer. It was my fault. So we're glad that you are here with us. Let's just go all the way back to the beginning, okay? So John, you are a member of Holt United Methodist Church. How long have you been a member there?
A long time. When you get old, you forget. So it's been a long time.
A long time.
I can't give you a number of years, but things have sure changed in the last year. I was part of the property and finance, so when the heater goes out, we hear about it. Our care committee is kind of on hold because the visits that we normally make got put on hold. But
now, were you part of Holt United Methodist when our church, Sycamore Creek, is a mother-daughter plant out of Holt United Methodist back in 2000?
I was not. No.
Okay. But we have a special connection with the church that you're a member now. John, you have ranked yourself with whom God would rank you, in that you've had some special guests in your house over the last year and a half. Tell us who those folks are that you've welcomed into your home.
Well, we had 6 kids that 2 of them were from El Salvador, and 2 were from Honduras, and 2 were from Mexico that came through our home while the governmental officials were making sure that their sponsors, be it their aunt and uncle or parents, were living in a safe home here in the United States. So they, through Bethany, would stay with us until their clearance. And
so these are unaccompanied refugee minors who you're foster parenting. How long are they usually with you?
A couple of them were here for 2 weeks, and extended the longest was a month and a half.
Yeah, so about under a month and a half. And then they're reunited with sponsors, family members here in the United States.
Right.
Yeah. We're here. We have as well with us today Sandra, who is the coordinator of this program. Sandra, thanks so much for joining us. Just take a second and introduce yourself.
Thank you, Tom, for having us. So yes, my name is Sandra Svereo-Lopez. I am the program manager, site supervisor for the Transitional Foster Care Program through Bethany Christian Services. And like you mentioned, I oversee, it's a small team of 6, and we're a growing program at this point. It's going to be 2 years in April.
Yeah. So John, we've been talking about prayer, and you told me that one of the really unique moments for you was when your kids prayed at your table. Tell us about that experience.
You knew that God was in their life because you didn't know what they were saying, but you knew that they were praying basically for their family back home and us, and they would pray just like anybody else. They're no different than every other kid that knows how to pray. That's how they were. And
they're praying in Spanish.
Yeah.
And do you and your wife speak Spanish?
Through Google Translator, we can explain anything in Spanish or any other country, but that's it. They learn the language pretty quick, and our language, and we learn theirs pretty quick. Not the words, but the meaning.
You've been taking Spanish classes with Bethany Christian Services, is that right?
Yeah, Judy's the star of that program, but we're being taught by one of the teachers at Bethany, Mateo, and he's a professor in explaining everything and what the words are. So that's been helpful, and Duolingo was another real good thing, but it's hard to learn another language when you're older, and so I'm stuck with the things that I learned probably back in high school and college, gracias and a few things like that. But
Sandra, how many kids are in your program, or tell us a little bit about the number of children that are needing foster parent homes?
So currently in our program here, we don't have any kids in care right now. We are in desperate need of families. This is the situation. We are facing literally a social crisis right now, which is known as an influx in the unaccompanied minor world. I can tell you that right now, I just checked this morning. There is a website that we have access that we can check, and I just checked this morning, and we had 1,334 children at the border today, this morning, waiting to be placed in a program like our program, with over 300 kids in transit, meaning that they were already placed in a program. That is a huge number. Even for our previous We Connected during the week, this past week, and we were talking about 800. So that number already spiked to 1,300, and we're foreseeing that it will continue to grow.
So there are 1,300 unaccompanied minors at the border right now who could use a home for anywhere from 2 weeks to a month and a half while you all work to reunite them with their families here in the United States.
That's correct. That's correct. Actually, we got as an agency, as a big agency, because this program is not just in Lansing. Bethany has programs in other cities within Michigan. We just received 23 kids just on Saturday out of this big number of kids that are available for placement. Of course, because this is an influx, that this is a crisis, the government has set up and they have already organized the big shelter, the big capacity shelters. And this is why we're not seeing a whole lot of numbers being referred to our transitional foster care programs. But it's still a big shelter, which is called hard shell tents that the government put in place. It's not the best placement for a child to be. And we can have kids from anywhere from 0 to 17-year-olds. So of course, when we're talking about little ones, that's when we get a little more touched, right? Because that's not a place where a child should be.
Yeah, John, I think all the children that you had, you said were 10 or under. Is that correct?
You can narrow that. Ours were actually like 8 to 10, I think was the range, but you can say to Bethany, we're not going to change diapers. From 6 to 14 is a good range for us, and they accommodate you because.
Now, friends, I wanted to invite John and Sandra on because for me, this is a glimpse of God's kingdom here on earth as it is in heaven. That these 6 kids with John and Judy have had a loving place. I've been reading recently about the situation at the border and the conditions that some of these kids are in. And I'm 100% certain that while they were in transition, they were in a better place at John and Judy's house while they were working to reconnect with their family members, sometimes extended family members. So we're going to have a meet and greet with the two of you after the service immediately in our cafe, our digital cafe, sycamorecreekchurch.org/cafe. Gretchen, if you'd put that in the comments section. So immediately after the service, we barely even scratched it, but we wanted to invite you on because I've just been moved and impressed by what God has been doing here in your house, John. So thank you so much for sharing this with us today. Friends, we're going to go back to the next segment of the message and keep learning the Lord's Prayer.